We don't have a left party in the United States. The Democratic Party is not a left party. The Democratic Party is a center or center conservative party. We can't even get a floor vote on Medicare for all. Not even a floor vote that gets voted down. We can't even get a vote on it. So this is not a left party. There are left members inside the Democratic Party that are working to try to make that shift happen.
But as a British person, I have said consistently, and I have made a video before on this, is that America's political spectrum is really warped from what a conventional political spectrum is.
Except it's not.
Jump!
Coming from a British and a European perspective. So that's why I thought my views might be, I guess, a bit enlightening, even though you've heard someone very smart already say this, and it doesn't actually take a smart person to see this.
Except neither of you are smart. Both of you are f***ing morons. Both of you are f***ing communists.
It's crazy that I see Trump supporters call Nancy Pelosi a leftist, because, of course, leftists really agree with completely and unequivocally supporting the Israeli government.
Even if they did, which they don't really, that doesn't have anything to do with being left-wing.
They completely agree with helping construct the Patriot Act, as Nancy Pelosi did.
Also not a left or right thing.
They completely agree with war on terror. They completely agree with never-ending Middle Eastern wars. They completely agree with just unending corporate influence in politics.
Not a left or right thing. All of the things that you have mentioned here are not exclusively left or right. The only thing that can be exclusively held on either side is economics. And the right are more for economic freedom, while the left are for more economic suppression, either through a corporatist form, or through a fascist form, or through a socialist/communist form, which really socialism is just communism.
I've always maintained that the Republican Party is a far-right party.
The Republican Party is far from being far-right in any sense of the word. They are economically moderate at best. And in fact, there are some Republicans who aren't really capitalists at all. They're just more moderate Democrats. And what I mean by that is that they just really aren't capitalists. They're more for economic control. They might be corporatists.
It's fundamentally steeped in racism.
The Republican Party could give two shits about your skin color. They don't care about race. The ones who care about race are the left. More specifically, those who call themselves Democrats, liberals, those people. Because there are two kinds of racism. There's malevolent racism and benevolent racism. The main kind of racism towards people of color is benevolent racism. And they receive that mostly from the left. The liberals, the Democrats, those people. Not all of them, but a good percentage. And I've talked about this in my video, Racism in America. If you want to look at it, I'll have a link down below. But continuing on this, the only other kind of racism that I see that people of color get is some malevolent racism, but towards a specific kind of people of color. Those would be the kinds of people of color who do not go with the status quo of the Democratic Party. If they vote right-wing at all, they're called race traitors and coons and all that. And again, this is from the left. The other kind of malevolent racism that I have seen, and in my video I talk about more, is towards white people. And yet again, what's it from? The left.
Fanatical fundamentalist Christianity.
The vast majority of Republicans are not fanatical Christians. And even the ones that are supposed fanatical Christians, they're what? Fanatical on gay marriage and maybe some trans stuff? That's not really that fanatical. Speaking from a gay guy who wants to get married one day, I don't consider that fanatical by any means of the word.
Also, extremely pro, probably the worst kind of capitalism, completely nearly deregulated free market capitalism.
Yeah, the Republican Party isn't free market capitalism. If at all, they may be somewhat moderate on that, but they really aren't free market. You might be able to say that about a large percentage of conservatives, but the Republicans in general, no. And free market capitalism has been shown to be very good. Now, I am for some reasonable regulations. However, there are many regulations that are absolutely worthless and that hurt businesses.
It's funny watching people get mad at something which is unquestionably accurate. Because she's like, that's not even controversial. What she's saying to people who follow this stuff closely and really know about this stuff, you honestly file this under duh.
To who? Your communist friends? Most people don't think this is a duh thing. Most people don't think that the Democratic Party is a centrist or right-wing or conservative party. They know it as a left-wing party. Perhaps a moderate one, but a left-wing nonetheless. And you know how I can say this? Well, let's look at California, New York, Hawaii, Vermont, New Jersey. These states are very, very much so left-wing. They have a huge control over the economy. They're highly regulated. These states are far from free market capitalism. They are the most economically regulated states in the country. They make a large percentage of the Democrat establishment, and they make up a large percentage of Democrat voters. That, I think, is all evidence of enough to say that the Democratic Party is not centrist or right-wing or conservative.
She is talking about, and none of this should be controversial, right? Mm-hmm. It's very weird that there's any controversy about this because it's something that everyone will tell you.
Again, who? Your communist friends and colleagues? Of course they're going to tell you that it is not left-wing because you are so far to the left that anything right of you isn't left-wing to you. Have you ever thought that you might be the ones who are the extremists, who are at the extreme levels of the political spectrum? As I have said, the only thing that can be consistently held on either end is economics and business freedom and all that. On the right, they tend to be more for economic freedom, and on the left, they tend to be more for economic suppression. Things like immigration, gun control, animal rights, LGBT rights, prison reform, and drug legalization are not exclusively a left or right thing. Because there is such thing as the authoritarian left, are communists, which you guys are, all of you here in this video, all of you are communists. The libertarian left would be for not having gun control. They would probably be for anyone to have whatever gun they wanted. They probably would be for complete drug legalization, but they would be for a communist utopia, like the authoritarian left. Things like that are on the non-economic side of the political spectrum. The authoritarian right would be for gun control, would be for criminalizing drugs, killing gays or imprisoning them. That would be the authoritarian right. However, they would still be capitalists. They would be for little, maybe a moderate amount, or no regulations on businesses or the economy really at all. That would be the authoritarian right. There's also the libertarian right, and they are for, again, little or no regulations on the economy and businesses, but they would be against gun control, they'd be for LGBT rights, they'd be against drug laws. That's what these sides are. You see, as I have said, gun control can be held on either end. It could be held by a right-wing person, they could be against guns, and a left-wing person can be against guns. Or a left-wing person can be pro-gun, and a right-wing person can be pro-gun. Those things are not consistent. They cannot be consistently held on one side or the other. The only thing that can be consistently held on one side is economics and business freedom. Well, if you liked this video, please give it a like, subscribe, share it, comment down below and tell me what you thought, and I'll see y'all later.